of responsibility per tributary. So for example, if you need 200,000 acre-feet of water to flow down the various tributaries to the San Joaquin, then of that 200,000, X percentage of that would come from the Stanislaus, Y percentage would come from the Tuolumne, and Z percentage would come from the Merced. And maybe A percentage would come from Friant. So, and that's a fairly huge number. All I can tell you is that Walt had the picture of Don Pedro. If they want 60% of the unimpaired flow to go down the river, that reservoir doesn't fill. So what that means is that we have to operate Don Pedro more aggressively. And what that means is for the farming community, who knows what the allocation would be year in and year out.
What is that? Conserve more.
Pardon?
We have to conserve more. Like we don't already.
Yeah, well, yeah, that affects the groundwater basin, that affects all kinds of things that go on, energy. I mean, it's got a domino effect all the way down the line.
But no farmer here wants to waste water, I'll guarantee you that. They're conserving all they can.
We don't argue that point.
I know, that's for other people.
Hey, Alan.
Sir.
Has there been, and she was talking about walking across the river, and I'm on that river all the time with my boat, especially this time of year, April. Has there been any talk about dredging the river? Because it's getting wider and wider and wider. Bill can testify to that too.
I don't think so. I've never heard anybody talk about dredging the river at this point. You need a permit to be able to do it anyway. Probably couldn't get one. You know. So. Okay. Anything else?
Will the day ever come we can increase the capacity for
or build another one?
for a secondary catch basin?
We're living on our grandfather's shirt tails of what they did 50 years ago or 100 years ago.
No.
And how come we don't pursue getting more storage? Because everybody wants more water.
And they have,
I mean,
recapture more.
right now you guys run a lot of water down the river that could be saved for running down in the fall for the salmon.
Well, let me give you two answers to that question. I've become a pretty good politician in the last hour.
He's done a good fine job.
Thank you. Let me give you two answers to the question. First of all, can we raise Don Pedro? We've looked at that, and I guess I'll tell you from a policy perspective, not an engineering perspective. The answer is probably we could do it. It would simply be money. Obviously, there's some sizing things that go along with that. People have built down into the Don Pedro area, so you'd have to go and get that land. Also, too, note, and this is a fact that is not well known, that the districts a number of years back had a deal with the feds on wild and scenic. So a portion of the river that comes into Don Pedro now is wild and scenic, so you'd have to go back and you'd have to get that one fixed to be able to do that. I think that would be a pretty tough battle. In terms of building additional storage, I will share with you that the board that hired me and the board I currently work for has been very adamant about additional storage, taking a look into that. The problem being is that, and I don't want to sound negative, but the fact of the matter is it would be very difficult to build a storage reservoir in California today, and it would be exceedingly expensive. We could probably start today. See, Margaret, we don't have any grandkids yet, right?
Not that I know of.
Okay. They haven't been born yet. By the time they're born and they get to 20 some odd, we might be able to build a reservoir.
My grandfather built it for us.
Start now.
That's what I'm saying. We need to start.
Start
more
now.
population would get more demands going to be on the water.
And we are very supportive of storage. Just so you know, the board is very, very supportive of storage. And they've been that way because that removes the target from us.
So you guys displaced the whole city when you built New Don Pedro, right?
You know, I wasn't here at the time, so I don't know what we did. No, there was far more smarter people than I here that made that decision.
People that were more forward looking.
No, I mean, I think you need to step back, and my friends on the Tuolumne River should even applaud this as well. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, don't know. But the vision that folks had back in the 20s to build Don Pedro, the vision that folks had in the 60s to start to, or 50s to start to want to build new Don Pedro, I mean, it's unheard of. You can't build that facility today. If you started to try to build that facility today, I bet you couldn't get a bill.
No, the environmentalists did not do that.
Yeah.
It's like
Why?
Logan's.
Well, chain them up and flood them.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Along that line, it's not our watershed, but what's the status on the site code board that we're talking about or something?
You know, I don't know exactly the status. I guess to this gentleman's point, we've been talking about Sites Reservoir now for almost 10 years. Talking about Sites Reservoir for almost 10 years. In fact, we got in some legislation. I believe it's in the water bond to fund. I believe it is. Yeah, and folks are still debating whether that's actually a good reservoir to build on. Okay, anything else? Y'all done? You tired?
I think just one thing, I'm talking about extra storage, I'd imagine it's a lot of money. But in the whole period when Don Pedro's been operated, has it ever gone below, say, 900,000 acre feet? I mean, what's an annual?
Oh yeah, in 77, 78, it was way down.
Yeah, there's a slide.
The old dam came there.
Right there. 300,000.
Wow.
We're in 1,078. What's this, Walt? 92?
Yes.
800,000?
No, 700,000 and 92?
So a few times, I suppose, which could, you know, with modern forecasting technologies, you could possibly avoid. But generally speaking, for the
If
last...
it doesn't rain, it doesn't fill.
Sure, but I'm just saying for the last, say, 20 years or so, it really hasn't gone below 900,000 acre feet. So that's another 600,000 acre feet that's never touched.
Well, I guess the answer to that is this community's made that investment. They paid for that, and they should reap the benefit of the operation of Don Pedro.
Right, I'm just saying that's as opposed to building a whole new, that's an additional 600,000 acre feet without even building, you know.
So we're holding our
another
water
dam.
back in the fall for the
Just-
next year.
just
We
in
can put
case.
more down for the Friends of the River.
Year
In
round.
the fall, we can give them more water year round. And we can control
Well,
that flooding.
I'm saying that's 600,000, that's your dam right there, that's 600,000 acre feet.
That's against another drought.
Go out down the middle of the pool every year?
I mean, a lot of the water runs down the river right now.
You're saying we should drop it down to 300,000 every year?
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying you gotta balance the current capacity with what a new dam would cost and how you operate.
So if you had a bank account that looked similar to that, and it kept drawing down, I mean, you'd be happy with it when it draws down?
Well, there's a lot more dollars that flow out right now that aren't even captured because the dam right now is at, I mean,
So you throw money away? You wouldn't want to store money?
money's being thrown away right now.
That's because we need additional storage.
So you're saying that the water in storage is being thrown away because we're not using it? That's essentially what you're saying.
I'm saying it has to be balanced. There's water that runs down the river right now that can capture. If there was that excess capacity, you could fill it up instead of letting it flow down the river.
How do you know that every year you're gonna have a wet year? That's our concern.
Nobody's gonna be able to forecast perfectly. I'm just saying over the last 20 years, it hasn't gone.
So and we draw it down every year to 300,000 acre feet, and all of a sudden we don't get that recharge. Who's gonna suffer? Everybody.
Nobody,
That's why you have
additional groundwater storage.
Right.
I mean, you know, look at that big white time period there that we need to have that recharge.
I'm just saying you gotta balance that operation I mean, otherwise new dams really.
You can't control it under
But right
nature.
now, we're wasting a lot of, but we don't have room to store it right now because the reservoir overflow. We can't hold the water back right now because there's too much snowpack to come down in May.
That's
May's our big dump.
That's our secondary reservoir right there, but it's not big enough.
Build a dam on the clay and
Yep.
then you
Oh,
guys
no,
have water.
No, please.
Alan,
Yes.
Alan, you and the staff are developing these different scenarios using the potential of what could come down the river